Hello, it is Askkrystalracquel. I am back again with another video. I wanted to stop in today after having a very long day. As you all may know, we're coming down to that point where baby's almost here. So I have my feet are all swollen, but what I did today, we went grocery shopping. I've been trying to set up the space for the baby, and just a lot of walking around, and yeah, so got a little swelling in my feet, and just an overall long day today. But yeah, I wanted to stop in. Sometimes when I have an idea that comes to me for a video, I'll put it in my phone in the notes section. So I was just going through my notes. This is a topic that I was thinking about last week, but then I saw that I actually wrote like an in-depth note about this topic early May. So I don't know if it's pregnancy brain or what, but I actually wrote a lot of detail about what I want to talk about with you. So what I want to discuss with you is, I have my notes here, but I would really urge everybody to not be intimidated by excellence. That's going to be the topic for today. Stop being intimidated by the excellence of other people. We have to stop trying to be mediocre. This goes for anybody. Something that I've seen is, let's say someone goes and finishes their college degree, their 4-year degree, or they do a master's or their doctorate. I notice that sometimes people will automatically say, well, I hope that person's humble, or that person is not humble, or they have a lot of pride. I think we just need to be careful with that, because what you'll find is the people that end up saying those comments automatically, maybe they did not finish their 4-year degree. Maybe that was something that they wanted to do. So because they see someone else with it, it causes something in them to kind of rise up, and they feel inadequate or insecure. So rather than being happy for that person, or being like, oh, that's a great accomplishment, they'll say, oh, well, that person thinks they're better than other people and things like that. So we really need to be careful with that. And I know I've shared on here in the past that I have a master's degree. Prior to me getting a master's degree, I remember always thinking to myself, when I heard somebody had a master's, I would be like, wow, that person must be so smart. Like, whoa, I don't think I'll be able to do a master's one day. I don't think that's something I would do. That's how I thought about it. My thought didn't go to, that person is proud, that person thinks they're better than other people. No, that never crossed my mind. I looked at it as an accomplishment, I will say, when I was doing my master's program, there were definitely certain people in the program who were a little like snooty, but for the most part, it wasn't even like that. But anyway, after completing my master's program several years ago, I feel like, oh, if you want to do a master's, if you want to do your bachelor's, anybody can do it. It's just you have to put the time and effort. It's just like school. Like, if you were able to finish your high school degree, you for sure can decide on a bachelor's. You can finish your bachelor's degree for sure. You can go on and do your master's degree. You can then go on and do your doctorate. So that's the way I see it. And then also, you may notice that sometimes people may try to put down whatever the person got their degree in. Of course, I definitely think you should try to go forward and get a degree in something that's going to be worthwhile, something that you're going to be able to use in your career for whatever reason. But there's also some people who just love to get education. A lot of people who pursue their bachelor's and master's and all those different type of things, they're people who like to learn. There's nothing wrong with that. We have to just be really mindful. Well, one, for sure, you definitely need to do something that you are going to be able to use, that you want to use. But you also have to be careful. There's people who will be like, oh, well, that doesn't even matter. Her bachelor's isn't this, so please, what really is she going to do with that? Those people are kind of haters. So you don't want to be one of those people. So if somebody finishes their bachelor's, just congratulate them. They finished their master's, they finished doctorate, just congratulate them. Don't just say, well, their master's is in, computer science. You don't even need a master's in computer science. Why did they even get that? Or yeah, they're a doctor, but they're not a medical doctor. So just be mindful of those comments. And for me, I say things like, "Oh well, my master's it was easy for me," and I say anybody can do it. But at the same time, when I'm saying it's easy, it doesn't mean that I didn't put in my effort. It means I put in that effort that was required, and putting in that effort wasn't hard for me. So yes, I had to do what I had to do. I had to study and all those things. When I said, "Oh, when I got my master's, it was easy," I'm not saying that I didn't have to put in work. I'm not saying that I was able to go and take exams without studying. I'm not saying that I was able to not pay attention. I'm not saying I was able to not go to class. I'm just saying, just like you would in your high school for like a math course or a science course, you have to study for those things, and people don't automatically just know math without studying. So just like you would do in a class that requires effort, I did that, and it was easy for me to do that. So people may also try to downplay what you've done, like, oh, she said it was easy, so that just means that it wasn't a rigorous program. No, the program was rigorous, and it wasn't hard for me to have a rigorous program. So keep those things in mind. And I know I'm just talking about myself, but it's not even about masters. It could be about just doing your bachelor's, doing your associate's degree. We have to stop trying to be mediocre people. This goes for anyone, but also even in the Black community. I noticed that education isn't harped on as much, and it's very important. Even when I'm going to my prenatal exams and things like that, there's doctors of different races that I've interacted with, and it's important to be able to have someone who represents you, and not in any way, shape, or form to say that you can't have a white physician or anything like that, or a physician of a different race. I know my pediatrician when I was growing up was an Indian man. And it was awesome. But it's just to say I can feel cultural competency is very important, and I can feel sometimes, depending on who I'm interacting with for the prenatal visit, you can kind of sense if someone's, used to people like you, or if someone's maybe not used to people of your culture or your background or your race. And I haven't felt that with all of the white doctors that I've interacted with, of course. But it's definitely a different vibe when you're sometimes when you're interacting with someone who's of the same race as you. So I just say that to say, us as a Black community, I know not all my subscribers are Black, but just in general, it is important to pursue higher education, reach for the stars. And I know a lot of people that I've heard, they'll say, oh, well, education's not that important, or it's just whatever, just a piece of paper, or that's just a waste of money. All right, continue saying those things, but then there's a lack of representation in those areas. So medical field, whatever field, sometimes like when you start going higher up and reaching different levels, there's a lack of representation. So I encourage anyone to pursue higher education if you can, and if it's going to be beneficial to you in your life. Not everybody's going to be an entrepreneur. Not everyone is going to. And even if you want to be an entrepreneur, you're learning a lot of things. Me, by going to a 4-year college, I feel like, yes, you should do something that's going to help you in life. However, just even having the experience of going to college will help you. It helps you mature, it helps you develop, and it helps you be able to interact with people from different backgrounds. I highly recommend you go to a college that has a mix of people. That's what I did, and it was wonderful. But it's super important, because for me, my college education, I did something in the liberal arts. I studied a language, and I know people who didn't go to college, they didn't continue. And this is not anybody, if you weren't able to go to college or to get your bachelor's, that's totally fine. I really encourage people to go to school if they can. Go to something that's affordable. You don't have to go into so much debt. You can find an affordable program. You can start out at a community college if necessary, but just know that, you know, I forget where I was going with this, but yeah. So yeah, it doesn't matter if you have your 4 year. I highly recommend that you. Well, okay. What I learned in college is that it matures you. I've seen people like, oh yeah, I was saying like, it doesn't matter if you didn't go, that's okay. But I've seen differences in how certain people I know from like high school, how they behave, how they interact with the world, compared to people who went to college, whether they finished and did their 4 year or not, but people who at least attended some college. There's a difference, you know. Not everybody goes to college, that's fine, but you just have to recognize, yes, nobody wants to be in debt, but if you did really well in high school, you know, got straight A's, you might even get a full scholarship. So that's why it's really important to even start studying from when you're young. And I'm talking to you young people who might be 16 or 17, you know, really do your best in high school, because that can help you get scholarships. You know, you really want to have that academic excellence. And even if you know, you don't want to take a lot of loans, that's completely fine. But just remember that later on in life, it could potentially affect your job outlook, and you really can't, unless you have some, you know, strange circumstance. There's no reason why you can't start out at a community college. You can pay for that by working, and then transfer for your last 2 years. And, you know, find an affordable in-state program. I'm just really encouraging you all to strive for the stars. You know, I've seen even within my family, people like young people within the family, you know, we really just have to encourage people. And even like our young men, like, you know, young men need to find something that they love. You know, they're potentially going to be supporting families in the future. And we don't want to get into this case where, I'm just going back to the Black situation. We don't want to be in a situation where it's like Black women are higher educated than all the Black men. Not all, but a lot of them. So we want to be more level, you know, because that can cause strife. Even statistically speaking, they say it's best for someone to marry somebody that's close to their or at the same educational level. You know, there's a difference. I've seen that in my life as well. So let's see. So just an example would be somebody who has their master's probably wouldn't do well with someone who, not saying this is all the time, but somebody who has their master's may have some issues in a relationship, in a marriage, with somebody who dropped out of high school. You know, there's statistics that prove that. So, you know, men, I'm encouraging you all to pursue your education. And, you know, it comes to a certain point where, you know, you're not going to be able to blame your parents, you know, for not being able to afford school for you. You're an adult now. You can make those decisions. And I understand it might be hard for a man, like if you're raising a family, if you have a family and things like that. But, you know, there's a way for you to take online courses and things like that can potentially push you forward in a career. And you can even pick something like IT. I don't think you even need a bachelor's for IT. I think it's probably like a 2-year program. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, so we need to stop being intimidated by excellence. Let's rise up from mediocrity. You know, let's use our brains for things. Let's make sure we're getting into those spaces. This goes for anybody of any race. You know, you want to make sure that you're going to be able to make decisions at those higher levels, you know. All right. Then people, you know, if you want to be able to have a high level career one day, let's say somebody wants to be a president. If you want to be a president, you're going to need to get a bachelor's degree. I mean, I'm sure there might be a president or two who don't have a bachelor's or law degree or something, but you're going to need to pursue a higher education, right? Education is very important. Okay. And there's a wide range of schools, you know, that could cater to your beliefs. If you want to go to a Christian school, if you want to go to a public school, private school, there's a wide range, something that's going to fit your specific needs. Okay, and here, I'm just looking at my notes. Um, yes, so there's people who they might have wanted to pursue a bachelor's, they might have wanted to pursue a master's, pursue a doctorate degree, and something derailed them. Maybe they got pregnant, maybe they something happened, they had to care for a family member, they got married, and now they see somebody with that degree, the bachelor's or the master's or the doctorate, and they're automatically going to say, oh, that person's not humble. Are you sure? Are you sure? Like I said, when I was doing my program for my master's degree, there were like a couple people that I noticed who had like a little attitude, or like they thought that they were, you know, hot. But majority of people weren't like the majority of people were normal in the program. So like, where are you getting this information from? A lot of times I notice when people are saying, oh, that person is, you know, they think that they're better than other people. Like, I've heard this before. I've seen people online to these things. It seems like to me, it comes off like you're intimidated because, like I said, when I had my bachelor's and I saw people with their master's, I'd say to myself, wow. Like, I don't think I could do something like that. They must be really, really smart. That's how I saw it. So my perspective, I thought that they maybe were super smart and it was something that they were able to accomplish. But once I accomplished it, I was like, oh, you can do this if you want to. Anybody can do this if they want to. Anybody can complete their degree if they want to. And if your automatically thought is, I hope they're humble, I hope they aren't proud, that may mean that maybe that was something you wish you could have done. Maybe you feel like something stopped you from pursuing a dream that you had. Maybe you dropped out of high school. Maybe you started a college program and you couldn't finish. You had to drop out of your bachelor's program. Um, so it's something maybe within yourself that you may have to start looking at, because there's no reason why when somebody has a higher education degree that you automatically think to yourself they're not humble, because that's not even how it works. Me, from my own experience being in a program, oftentimes people who pursue higher education, you can probably look back at their history, they probably did well in school. Me, I was like a straight A student from kindergarten through high school. You you know, it might be something where like they want to do better at their job. Maybe as somebody who they have children, they want to make a better life for their kids, so they pursue a higher educational level to be able to build a good life for their children. You don't know someone's reason, so if that's your first thought, it's probably something about yourself that you need to work through. You maybe wish you could have pursued your higher education degree. Maybe you got married right after high school and you weren't able to. I'm not sure how some. Sorry if I'm breathing a little bit hard, but the I think the baby is pushing out my lungs. But if you really feel, if you start thinking those things, it's something within yourself. You're gonna have to deal with that, because you don't need to be intimidated by someone's excellence. You need to be intimidated by somebody pursuing their dream. Focus on yourself. Yes, maybe you weren't able to achieve that dream. If you really want to, you can still do it. But that shouldn't be your first thought about somebody when you see that they have their bachelor's. Oh, they think they're better than me. No, you think that they're better than you. So that's intimidating you. Because if that person didn't, and if there's nothing wrong with somebody being proud of their accomplishments. If somebody finished their bachelor's and they're happy and they're posting them in their cap and gowns saying, I finished my bachelor's, okay, or class of whatever, 20, whatever. Or, I just got into this program, got into my master's program, got into my bachelor's program. I'm so excited. I'm going to start, you know, we're educated people now. And then that offends you and you say, this person's always talking about their degrees. My first question is, did you have a degree that you wanted to do and you stopped? Okay. Did you finish your bachelor's and want to pursue your master's but you stopped? Did you drop out of your high school program and you stopped? If those answers are yes, that kind of tells me where it's coming from. Because normally if somebody else sees somebody getting a higher education degree and they feel like they could do it too, or they feel like, oh, that person has an accomplishment, that is not going to be your first thought, because that is rarely my first thought about somebody. Like, if I see somebody posting like, oh, I just finished my bachelor's, I finished my master's, oh, I'm a doctor now, I'm getting into medical school, I just did my PhD, my first thought, even before, was like, oh, wow, like, that's great. They're they're educating themselves. And now that I have, some of those things, my first thought is, oh, wonderful. They probably want to elevate in their career. That's my first thought. That's my thought, Or there's some credentials that they need, and that they need a higher educational level to be able to get to where they want to go. So be mindful of those things. There's no reason to be intimidated by anybody else, because if you automatically are saying people think that they're better than other people just by them saying, I have this degree, I've studied this, I am an expert in this based on me studying this for 2 years, based on me studying this for 5 years. If that offends you, that's something about you. You need to check yourself, because what they're saying is probably true. They probably do have an education that maybe you don't have. Let's say, you're talking about something related to the medical field. They are a physician, and they say, oh, well, I'm actually a physician and for geriatrics. So based on what I know, blah, 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 blah. Okay. They may be accurate. They studied this thing, Let me see. So I have here, yes, don't automatically assume that somebody is not humble or that they're proud because of your own insecurities. It's a wonderful thing to pursue your higher education. It is a mindset that I believe is around a lot of people of color, especially Black people. I think Hispanics people probably have the lowest rate of higher education, but of course you can start a business. Nobody needs a degree. You don't need a degree. It's if you want one, right? Or if you wanted one and you did not get one, do not try to assume that somebody who has one thinks they're better than you. That's not the case. Like I said, it may be that you feel they're better than you because you didn't finish or you weren't able to achieve what you wanted. But yes, not everyone needs a degree. You can, it's whatever you want. But I will say, if you're a young person, I would encourage you to find something that you want to do and pursue your higher education if you can. Let's see. Yes. And of course, some people can be arrogant, right? Some people can be a physician. They can be arrogant. They can have a PhD. They can be arrogant. Like I said, a lot of the people who pursue higher education, they would have done well regardless if they had a degree. They just, want to continue to pursue something because they love education, or maybe it's just someone who wants to elevate their lives in terms of their career. And let's see. Okay, that's pretty much it. Remember, your validation is not going to come from other people. It needs to come from God. Don't make it like, oh, well, I want to get this degree because it's going to show so-and-so. No, if you want to get a degree, go ahead and pursue it. But your validation should be coming from God. Do not let validation from a degree or from other people make you feel better about yourself. And sometimes people are going to confuse confidence with arrogance. I'm never going to assume somebody's arrogant because they have a higher education degree. Why would they decided to get a higher education degree? If you want one, you can go and get one too. Why are you automatically thinking that they're arrogant because they have a degree and they studied something and they feel that they know something based on what they studied? I mentioned before, I have a master's in public health. I do know some information about certain topics related to public health, mental health, epidemiology, some hot topics in the public health field. And if I were to tell somebody that, that's on you if you think you know things, that I worked in certain positions related to public health during COVID as well. And I learned a lot in some of those positions, but you can't, somebody having more knowledge than you in a certain topic area also shouldn't intimidate you. So yeah, if you are excellent, you're wonderfully made, there's nothing wrong with you being happy about that and speaking about it. If you ever do sense that someone is jealous of you or that someone does not want to hear those things about you, keep it to yourself. You don't have to go around being like, oh, well, I have this, I have that. Just understand, based on what I'm saying, there are people who are going to be intimidated by the things that you're saying. It's nothing to do with you. But if you want to maybe prevent chatter about you or people saying things about you, I would probably just avoid having those conversations with those people once you start noticing those things from them. Just focus on yourself, your achievements, and God is going to see you through. And for those people who have an issue with you because of what you've accomplished, you need to focus on yourself, because that may be why you're in your situation now, because you're focused on other people, their accomplishments, and what they're doing wrong, why they decided to get these degrees, how much debt they're in, how they're trying to show off, how they're proud, how they're arrogant. When you need to be focusing on yourself and your accomplishments and what you're trying to do in life and where you're trying to go. Stay focused on somebody else. You're going to be stagnant in this position while they're going higher and higher, focusing on their life and what God has for them, their purpose. You're over here because you're stuck over here staring at them while they're going higher and higher. So yes. And then just back to like the whole excellence thing. Continue to be excellent. Continue to do what it is you have to do. It does not have to be related to school, but anything you want to pursue, any business, any, you want to open a boutique, whatever it is you want to do, focus on that. Be excellent. But if you do notice when you mention certain things, people are like watching you, they're making comments, eliminate that interaction with those people. Move on. Continue to focus on what you're building for yourself and for your life and for your purpose. And those people who are over here, watching you say negativity about you or assuming that you're arrogant, all we can do is pray for them if you have the time and energy. Or those people need to work on themselves. Nothing to do with you, As long as you're not over here telling someone that you're better than them because you've accomplished something, there's nothing wrong with you talking about what you've done or why you love what you've done. But yeah, I hope you have a wonderful, blessed day. I will be back soon. I actually want to talk to you about Diddy's apology. I'll talk about that in the next video. And then also, someone commented on the video I posted where I said Cassie's owed an apology. If you watch that video, you will see that the content of the video was not about me owing her an apology, even though I kind of framed it that way, like it was about people who are saying that she's owed an apology are ridiculous. Somebody commented on that video saying something like, who do I think I am if she's owed an apology? I need to reach out to her. And, who the F am I? People, I know some of you need help. There's people out there who are unstable. But just know if you make, inappropriate comments or disrespectful comments, you're not going to be able to comment on any of my future videos. So I would just try to be respectful, because there's no reason to, be talking like that on my page. And I'm not, I definitely don't curse, so don't be coming on my page cursing. But yeah, my first thought was, are you okay? But have a blessed day. I'm going to talk about his apology probably in the next video. Bye. Take care.